Hey guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Funhouse episode number 20. I'm really proud that I managed to get an episode out for every single fantasy event of the season. And in the last video I did, I said that Apex and Furia were the teams to bet on for the upset. Maybe I should have bet on them because there was a moment last week when I thought I was a genius. I had Airax. He was, I think, on 33 points into the playoffs. 161k, I still had complexity of mouse to go. It was all looking so good, and they lost in the most frustrating of ways. And this season just overall has just been incredibly frustrating because it feels like the favorite has won every single event, and the one time that I double up on two favorites, they both crumble. So many times I've hedged on an underdog and been punished for it. So a little bit frustrating that I don't do it this time and it goes this way, but whatever. We're staying at number 11 currently, so it could be a lot worse. Although I think this is my worst fantasy season in years, in like the 3 years I've been playing. So that does suck. I'm going to get into the top 10 in the last two events. We're only like a point off, so it should be easy enough to do. And I believe, yeah, there's just two events left in the season. BetBoom and then the Blast Global Finals. To my knowledge, the only remaining events of the season. So we'll start with BetBoom. BetBoom, same format as Elisa, but best of 3 instead of best of 1. But again, we've got a best of 5 finals, so more points if your teams get there. Group A, Cloud9, obvious favorite. I think if we were to do a power ranking, it would look like Cloud9, Gamer Legion, MIBR, BetBoom. I think those three are all in very similar ballparks though, so it really depends who shows up on the day. I think also the opening games matter. So for instance, Gamer Legion has Cloud9 in the opener. Probably don't want to bet on them because of that, whereas MIBR, they definitely should be beating BetBoom, I feel, in my opinion. So that's a decent bet, I think. Group B, very tough to call. Astralis, too fresh to feel comfortable betting on them with Stan and Yabi, in my opinion. Furia just won Elisa, but that's kind of their first trophy. Plus, I just never feel comfortable with Furia. I'd say VP are actually probably the favorite in this group. They've been looking really good as of late. I'd say Spirit is maybe the underdog team then to bet on. And again, with these openers, I think Spirit can beat Furia pretty easily. And I think VP probably beats Astralis, unless Astralis just come through and wow everyone. But way too hard to call in my opinion. So I'm going to avoid them in my draft. Let's take a look at who you can draft. I think Cloud9's prices are really fair. Electronic has been in 6th form. I think he's the most picked player for this event. Axile's also been looking a lot better. I'd be avoiding Boomage, and I get Hobbit if you're comparing the cheaper players. Hobbit's been looking actually a little bit better in CS2 now. Perfecto's been decent, but it's actually dropped off a little bit. So I think Axile, if you can afford him, but Perfecto's still a decent choice. VP, Flit, he's been the guy. Every single time, he's the one to go. Him and Norbert, great combo, I think. Norbert, you know, sometimes he has bad games, but he also has those highs, right? So I think with the way CS2 works, with the fantasy points you get, better to get players that have those high highs on occasion, and particularly because he's so much cheaper than the other people on the team. Similar with Gamer Legion, I think Kios is a pretty decent choice. He's very up and down and very cheap, so you can pair him with like Volt or Snacks if you want to go down that path, but you can also just pick Kios to free up money elsewhere if you want to. Astralis, a lot of Stan Yabi pickers I've seen, but personally, I'd be going Device if you're going in on Astralis. Maybe Device with Yabi or with Sarah if you want the extra money. We just don't know how this is going to work with these three players, but Device you can rely on and he's really cheap. BetBoom, their pricing similar to Gamer Legion, I feel. I think I'd be going Zorte here if I'm going to pick anyone, and I'd probably pair him with Chiron if I was going to double up on BetBoom. Furia, Queserado, back in the gold. I'd combo him with one of the cheap guys, probably Cello or Fallen. Art back to calling, and I think he does better against worse teams, but he has a very tough group here, so I'd avoid him. Spirit, very interesting. Everyone's actually quite cheap, right? Except for Donk, who is very expensive, but he also has a 1.45 rating since the release of CS2. Frost, I think 1.20 rating. Zontix, 1.13 rating. So keep those things in mind. Even Magix is on a positive rating, and he's 191k. So I think Spirit, if you're backing on an underdog, there's a lot of good stuff you can do here. MIBR, again, another underdog team and very well priced. I think you can get like Insani and Safe for very reasonable numbers, and I think they can win that game versus BetBoom. I think they can come second in their group. I don't hate drafting into them. So Cloud9 and Astralis, I think, are the teams that everyone is going in on. Or VP instead of Astralis, that's the Group B team I think a lot of people are choosing. However, I'm going to be making a different choice in Group B. I'm still going to go in on Cloud9 because I feel like you kind of have to with that group. But for Group B, that's where I'm going to go for the underdog choice. So I'm actually going to be going in on Spirit in Group B. So we'll start with Spirit. And the big question is, do we donk or not? Now, donk, 1.45 rating in CS2, very, very good. You can go Art Frost Sontics though, or Art Frost Magics, which is a little bit cheaper. And they're still pretty good combos, right? I feel like you can still get good results there. It frees up money elsewhere. But I'm kind of full sending it here. I really want to back donk just because he's just so insane. No one's going to be picking him because he's so expensive. So I have a really good opportunity, if Spirit pull off the upset, to decimate everybody. So I'm going to go donk, which means I have to go chopper. You can go donk magics, but it means that my Cloud9 side would just drop off completely. And I want my Cloud9 team to still be pretty good, right? So I get chopper. Looking at Cloud9, I also want the best player on Cloud9. You know, if I'm going to pick two teams, I want the best players on both those teams. So Electronic, we pick him up. We go Hobbit. As mentioned, been doing pretty good. I think he's a great choice in C9 currently. Pairing with Electronic, I feel like that's a great combo. It does only leave me with 180k, which means very limited choices for my final player. And in fact, only one choice. It's a drop. Now, I don't love it. I don't love picking drop, but MIBR have a pretty good opening match versus BetBoom. It's kind of like my Airax strategy, right? I'm just trying to minimize damage. I pick the best two players from these two teams. So if both these teams make the grand final, which is kind of what I'm aiming for, topping their respective groups, I end up with two of the best players at the event in that grand final. That's what we're aiming for. It's a little bit crazy, I know, but we got to take risks. We have to do it. I've got my safe draft in Cloud9, my risk in Spirit. It's the Badonkadonks. Now, I know it's not a fantasy funhouse kind of name, but I thought it was funny. I kind of had to do it because donks are the team. So anyway, we'll see if it works out. Really want to know what you're cooking up for this event. Only 2 left in the season, so let me know how your season's been going overall. Are you beating me? We'll do a review later on, but let me know what's cooking, and as always, good luck.